Hello and welcome to Worship Tutorials.
Hey, this is a good day.
We have the new PRS SE Silver Sky. And in this video, we're going to tell you all about it. You're going to hear how it sounds. You're going to get our impressions of it, how we think it compares to other things at similar price points and at much higher or maybe even lower price points. So before we go any further, I would be remiss if I did not tell you.
I would be remiss.
Thank you, Bradford. To subscribe to us here at Worship Tutorials on YouTube, we do all kinds of gear content like this.
We do.
As well as, song playthroughs and tutorials and that kind of stuff.
Patches.
We're uploading all the time. Yeah,
Worship
patches for all kind of guitar platforms.
Lots of things.
Hit that subscribe button.
Office references.
Hit the bell. We do those too from time to time. Across the bottom of the video here on YouTube, there are chapter markers. You can jump around to different sections of the video, and
we're gonna 2022.
We're gonna organize this video in a pretty methodical way. But before we get started with all that, let's just give the too long didn't read version, TLDR. If you didn't know, that's what TLDR means.
Too long didn't watch version now.
TLDW. Yes. How good is it, Bradford?
Oh, it's impressive.
It's
it is very
pretty good.
We'll get there.
We do more pop culture references than just The Office. Okay.
we could sit here and talk about that for a second. We're going to get to that. But the short version is it's impressive.
It's very good.
We like it. It sounds like its counterpart.
Yeah, that's the thing so one of the top level things for me about how good this is, how close it sounds to the core version of this guitar. They nailed it with these pickups, and for a Strat, we can say it, Strat style guitar, it sounds excellent. Okay, so
you could look at it.
I have a cheat sheet here from PRS. This is all available on the internet, but it is a 25.5-inch scale length, like a Fender. Okay, like a Fender S style guitar, like a Strat.
Well, if we're gonna say Fender, might as well say.
Well, yeah, we can say Strat. Okay, 22 frets again.
It ain't no secret. Gee, I wonder what kind of guitar that is.
Yes, maple neck. Rosewood board. Is it rosewood?
Is it actually rosewood?
Yes, it is rosewood.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of companies are moving away from rosewood.
It's hard to get. It's expensive. All that.
So this guitar has an interesting and unique fretboard radius. If you're not familiar, fretboard radius is how curved the fretboard is, the top half of it. So there's neck carve, which is what the part of the neck that you hold in your hand feels like, and fretboard radius is how curved the fretboard is. This one has an 8.5 inch radius. So very briefly, we're going to talk about this more later and in a different video. The core Silver Sky has a 7.25 inch radius, which is vintage Fender spec, very rounded. This has an 8.5, so it's a little flatter. Now modern guitars would have like a 9.5 inch radius, and a lot of PRS guitars have even like a 10 inch radius.
I still don't understand that.
It's just flatter and flatter. Like the higher the number, the flatter it is. So it makes the feel and playability different. This has an 8.5 inch radius, so they kind of like went vintage meets modern. Like not quite modern, but not quite vintage. It's right in the middle.
That's kind of what PRS is to me. Anyways.
Yeah,
to me.
And so that was an interesting move, and separates it a bit from its bigger brother, I guess you could say. But it does feel and play like you would expect from PRS, like pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. You got the small birds on it, of course. It's a bolt-on construction, like a Strat. 2-point tremolo system.
Which is different.
Yeah.
The core is 6.
The core is 6. Oh, yes. And this is 2. Okay, that is different.
That is interesting.
Very good. The tremolo works really well. We'll talk about how, in the feel and playability section, we'll talk about how it comes set up, because that is unique as well to how John Mayer likes his guitars. It comes with, the pickups are the 635 JMS. Now, if you've watched our video on the SE series, we have a video on just the SE guitars from PRS. We'll link that below. A lot of the times the pickups are named like their USA counterparts, but with an S on the end, and that denotes that they're made overseas. These pickups, so the pickups on the core model, I keep pointing over here because it's over there, are the 635 JM pickups. 635 is because it's
between a 63 and a 64, so 63.5, so 635.
There it is.
Like that. Vintage. That was like they chose like in between.
Yeah, and they sound really good on this guitar. Like one of the things I think we're gonna say probably many times in this video is, if you pick this guitar up, you do not want to change these pickups out.
No, and you don't. At least you don't need to.
I mean, you might if you really want a different sound, but like these things sound great.
Yeah, and actually, if it's like its big brother, it should have this. They're the same pickup, which is unique. That's not normal in a Strat. Normally,
like what? Yeah, not the same as the US version,
but each
like
position,
each pickup is the same. They don't make a separate pickup.
They don't make a neck.
Bridge.
They don't make a middle. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same.
It's very interesting.
But they sound different.
They do.
Because of where they're placed. And we're going to do a bunch of playing samples, so you're going to hear how these things sound.
The playing samples are geared towards the praise and worship sound. So we're talking about this, but that's because it's a Strat spec. So
that's right.
We'll get there.
That's right. So explain the volume tone layout, Bradford.
Well, what's cool is these knobs are similar to the Big Brother, and so is the switch tip, which I don't think is on any other PRSs to begin with.
No.
So
and they look good.
They look cool. They feel cool.
They fit the aesthetic of the
guitar. They do. Very common stuff. You got your 5-way blade, neck, middle, bridge. Their volume doesn't have a treble bleed. Mayer wouldn't want that. He wants it to sound like that on purpose. The tone knob, first tone knob's connected to neck and middle. Bridge or the back one is connected to the bridge. It's pretty standard.
Yeah. So you can roll the highs off the bridge a little bit,
if you would
keep them on the neck and the middle. That's what a lot of people do with a Strat. That's usually because Strat bridge pickups are really thin and wiry sounding. As you'll hear in this video, this one is not.
Yeah. I actually would do it the other way around. Let the bridge sound like it sounds, and roll the the neck a little bit just so it sounds a little warmer.
Okay.
Because it's cool. It's not what I do all the time, but sometimes I do that because I really like how it sounds so different. But that's just me.
Yeah. So you've got very different than a Fender spec. You've got a 3x3 headstock with the reverse. you've seen. It was extremely controversial when they put this out in the core version, this reverse headstock.
Had to do with Mayer's hand placement when he played down there. It's really what
So the tuning buttons are this matte gray, which matches what the core looks like.
Yep.
They look good. It's standard PRS tuners. They're not the kind that you screw, you lock down on the top.
Yeah,
but
the Big Brother has those.
They work very well. This thing holds tune like a champ. The body wood is poplar, which is, usually on a Strat style guitar you get ash or you get alder, that kind of thing. This is poplar. I don't know that to me, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, the body wood is going to change the way it resonates and sounds. To me, this feels.
I didn't know that when I first picked this up, and it wasn't something shocking. I was like, wow, this feels different. Like it sounds, you do get the cool little cutaway that they did. That's still there for those people who care about it. It's not off colored.
Oh yeah, the core. That's
the
different
core.
color,
It's off color, and so sometimes it can seem like photography or like lighting on the cores where it looks like it's darker. It is a different color on those, but on this it is the same thing. That's different, and you also have the same little.
Oh, the input jack. That's the word you're looking for.
Yeah,
words.
Well, the little trick they did. I guess they angled it differently.
Yeah, so they
sunk it.
The deal is, it's kind of bulbous on the top. I'll take some photos or video and you can see it. What it means is when the cable comes out of the guitar, typically a cable would come out like at like a high angle because that jack is up, and then your tremolo bar will hit it. They angled this in a way that the cable comes out at a flatter. And why don't we just demonstrate?
We could just show you.
Yeah.
You can't normally do this on a Strat.
Yeah. So it's just a little touch that makes playability better.
It's very ergonomic.
Yeah.
The whole point was when they designed the Silver Sky was that. There are plenty of videos talking about that. We don't. Yeah. But still.
Yeah. So I think that just about covers it with SPEC. Did I miss anything, Bradford?
No.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. This is a SPEC thing.
We did talk about the bolt-on, but
the neck plate.
Yeah.
It has the John Mayer signature on it. It says SE Silver Sky. It's cool. It's a nice touch.
Yes.
It's not just a plain old, and it's like matte black.
Yeah. Which this is too.
Yeah.
This is a little more matte and maybe more gray, but yeah.
It comes with a gig bag. You get like the standard, the wrench for the truss rod, the Allen wrenches for making adjustments and setting the guitar up. So a few more notes about the construction. It has a scarfed neck joint construction. It's actually one of the first things we noticed when we were looking at the back of the neck. You can actually see it right here. That scarf joint actually makes for a stronger neck construction.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's typically a good thing.
With an angled headstock, I mean, I don't know. I've never heard of anybody saying that PRS broke, but
the angle is not nearly as steep as like a Gibson.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's very interesting.
All right, so in this next section, we're going to talk about the fit, the finish, the playability. How does it feel when you play it? How well is it made? And we've said this in the SE video that we did. These SE guitars from PRS, and this one is made by Cortec in Indonesia, which is exactly the same as the Custom 24 SE that we did. Extremely high level of quality on this thing. Not a flaw on this guitar that you will find. Everything is pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't just feel like they phoned it in just to make money and we're going to, it feels like they don't, if you are expecting it to feel like a core model guitar, I wouldn't say you're going to be disappointed.
It does feel different than the core.
It does feel different. And it doesn't feel cheap but it doesn't feel the same.
That's a good way to put it.
And I'm not even trying to be like PC about it or try to like save face like with PRS. I'm like it feels different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel worse.
Got it.
Which is weird. You would expect that.
Yeah.
In a guitar that is punching in at like a third.
Yeah. This is 850. The core. We assume this is 850.
26.
Guitar is $2,600 now.
And like, I don't know. It's like if you want that, get that.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
It is.
It is because it's a professional level guitar.
This is well worth the 850.
Yes, and you don't feel like playing this thing. You don't feel like it is not a professional guitar.
Yeah.
Even though the price would, to some people, say like, nah, that can't be.
Or I think people see SE and they think it's the budget line from PRS, or it's the import line, and so that it's not a pro level guitar. But that's not the truth.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a pro level. I mean, as far as like, you could play this and it sounds great and it feels great and it will perform.
Yeah.
No problem. So let's start talking about the way it feels.
Yeah.
So let's talk neck. So this neck shape is called the 635 JM. It might lead you to believe that it's the same neck shape as the core PRS, but it's not. It's not as chunky.
Yeah.
So,
no idea what the reasoning could be behind that, but that is a fact that is available to you on the spec sheet.
That's how it feels, but it feels comfortable. It feels nice in your hand.
You play it and it feels like a Strat.
Yeah, it really does. So
if you've never played the core and you pick this up, you're not going to be like.
I will say too, it's not just like a regular medium C from a Fender. Like a lot of times PRS does stuff that's asymmetrical, and what that means is it's not like a perfectly symmetrical, like rounded. So if you look at like, this is the way you're going to play the guitar, like your hand, the curve of your hand is asymmetrical. So PRS will often carve the neck so that they more fit this shape. So it's a little more sloped where your thumb is, and it's a little flatter where your fingers go, right? And so I feel that with this guitar. You feel that too? Does it feel like that to you?
I guess.
Yeah.
I only say that because I don't pay attention to that. But it doesn't feel like a... Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel symmetrical. Yeah. And that's a pleasing and again,
that's a
ergonomic.
Nice thing. Yeah.
It like one of the big reasons for the Silver Sky was how can we take the classic guitar and modernize it to have modern features. Yeah. And other builders weren't willing to go there with John, and Paul Reed Smith was. It
plays really, really nice. It doesn't, so I set it up so that, the strings are, there's 12 thousandths of an inch neck relief on it, right here, on the 7th fret. This is standard setup stuff. 464s of an inch of string action. Yeah. Thank you, Bradford. Which is really nice. The way nice and low, not too high, not super super low, but it does not fret out. You can in my experience, and it won't fret out.
In my experience, your cheaper lower end models kind of fall apart as you try to play fast. Yeah, because frets don't feel good. All of that. So,
okay, so the fretboard is slightly rounded over. It's not sharp. It's not super rounded over like a vintage type of a thing. That's been worn in. The ends of the frets are smooth. They're not sharp at all. They feel really nice and buttery. The tops of the frets are well dressed. That's another big thing. A lot of times with a more budget-friendly guitar,
you talk about this often,
and you do this, and it just feels gross and
scratchy,
and that's an easy thing to fix. You can easily polish all that stuff up, but they've done it for you, and that's a nice touch that usually you find on higher-end guitars. So talk about this tremolo thing, because the way this is set up is different than what you might have been used to, and this is a John Mayer thing. Yeah, Bradford. So I throw it to the expert.
So this, when I got this one, we had Brian. He floated it for me.
Yes, I did,
because I like a floating trem. Also, this is just the strap, so deal with it. So he floated it for me. This one, it comes the way John prefers it, which is decked.
But that's the way it comes set up. And the reason that is because that's how John Mayer likes it.
Yeah, you have gravity working against you on that one.
Okay.
Did I try too hard?
I don't know, Bradford.
Well, we just want to provide some
That
clarity.
might have been the last train.
We just want to,
Yeah,
we just want to provide some clarity on what you're getting.
Yeah. So
is there too much? Is there such thing as too many Mayer puns? There's no such thing.
not in this video.
Not in this video.
Well, here's the question that I think is relevant. Is there anything, if you got this guitar, if you bought this guitar, first of all, would you buy this guitar? That's with your own money.
Somebody asked me that.
That is the question.
I was like, that is a good way to put it. And I was very proud and also really mad that somebody asked me that.
The answer that I would say is if you if you are in the market for this type of a guitar and your budget is under $1,000, you would be hard pressed to find a better one.
This is going to become a go-to recommended guitar for under $1,000 because I think that is a brilliant reason to release this guitar and to keep it under that.
And that's saying something. So you bought this with your own money and you've got a little bit left over. Would you upgrade anything on this guitar?
No.
That's the question.
No.
Would you change out the bridge? Would you change out the pickups? Would you put different tuners on it? Anything like that? Would you feel the need?
I think I would feel the need to, but I think the only thing you may possibly want to change out would be tuners, maybe. Or maybe the nut.
If you want like a
boned.
locking thing.
Yeah, and maybe if you actually want a bone nut. Because that all plays into keeping it in tune and if you feel that that's an issue, but you don't need to.
I can tell you it's not.
It
does not go out of tune.
I would spend the extra money and get somebody to set it up and I don't really think you need to, but I don't know. I'd just buy another pedal.
We're still in tune. I put these strings on yesterday. I just dive bombed it.
If you're a Mayer fan and you've wanted a Silver Sky, and that
$2,600 is a lot.
It's a lot, and if you do not feel like that was something you could justify, because even used, you probably wouldn't be able to find one under 2K. I think I've seen them for like 18, 19. So just as recommending a Strat style guitar. I think this is probably like my number one go-to contender now. Like for, especially if you're looking to keep it under $1,000. That's hard to do.
All right, so let's talk about how these pickups sound, or how
Like
this guitar
a
sounds.
Strat.
The guitar is more than just its pickups, right? When it comes to tones, it sounds like a Strat.
Some of its parts.
About this playing sample section and the other playing samples that are throughout this video, what are we going to use? Axe effects?
Yes.
I think we're going to use axe effects. For this section, we're to satisfy the purists out there, we're running through a pair of actual amps. So we have a Matchless Chieftain on one side and a Legacy Series Bad Cat Cub 340 on the other side. This is our budget rig, Bradford. And those are running through the Chieftain through an aux and the Bad Cat through a captor. And we got a board here if we want to put on some overdrive. Well, you're going to hear a little bit of reverb from the Golden, but we're going to try and keep these mostly, unaffected. Why don't we just go through the 5 pickup positions, just cleanish. This is kind of like edge of breakup-ish. Yep. We have a compressor on as well. Yep. Compressor, reverb, amps. All right. So,
first impressions, it sounds like a Strat.
Yeah.
And it sounds great.
Sounds like a good one.
It does.
Yeah. So my first takeaway is how balanced it is across all 5 pickup positions.
Yeah, the neck they're not like out of whack EQ wise either, where it seems so drastic.
Yeah.
The volume levels. I mean, some of that stuff can be tweaked if you want it by just adjusting
pickup heights and that kind of stuff.
But they're balanced. They sound great. You get quack in 2 and 4. You get really 3 great distinctive sounds: neck, middle, bridge, and all that. Yeah.
And it sounds like a great Strat.
Yeah.
One thing that I've really enjoyed about this guitar is how these pickup positions sound with gain.
Yeah.
So let's throw. What do you want to use for gain? We have some options here.
We gotta do King of Tone.
King of Tone.
What I think. That's what I think.
We're gonna put on like the lower gain side of the King of Tone. All right, now let's go like bigger gain. This is the 808 side of the Duelist. We mentioned earlier that there is no treble bleed on the volume, right?
You can hear that when I brought it in a little bit.
Yeah, why don't we do this again? We'll put on both sides of the King of Tone, so it's lots of gain.
Yeah.
Play it and then roll the volume back because you get some really nice, smooth.
Yeah, the dynamics, and that's important.
Sound when you roll that volume back. Yeah. All right, go for it.
So here's bass, so you can get an idea of like what the brightness is set at.
Okay. You still have that clarity when you roll it back.
And that was the point of that.
Yeah.
So you can hear like
nice.
what it does when it's
Yeah.
I would rather just turn the drive pedal off. But a pickup that does that well, to me,
me too.
That's just
But there are a lot of players they're a little more old school. That'll gain up an amp.
Yeah, and you just use
and use the volume to really
I don't
get
have
their gain.
the skill to do that.
And one of the things Bradford and I were talking about when it comes to these pickup, the way this guitar sounds and the tone of it, it handles, like, pickups are a thing, headroom is a thing with pickups. And we talk about this when we talk about Curtis Lamberton's, the Lamberton's pickups. Like the level of headroom that you get and the way that they interact with effects.
Yeah.
And Bradford talked about that in the beginning of his video. We play music with lots of effects. And these pickups handle it well. Of course, you're hearing that throughout these playing samples. But for the praise and worship guys, the church players out there, this guitar handles that type of stuff really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so in conclusion, I think PRS, they pretty much knocked it out of the park with this. It was interesting because this has been a highly speculated guitar.
It has.
Like people have wondered whether this was going to happen ever since the core version came out.
And there are people who the demand's been crazy.
Yeah.
Like they just, like we talked about, like this is like a third of the core version. And
yeah,
I've seen comments where they just talk about how it's like, oh, it's just a money grab. And first off, they are a business.
Yeah.
So making money is important.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
$2,600 or above $2,000 for a guitar is out of the realm of possibility for lots and lots of guitar players.
And especially,
and this one is extremely attainable.
Yeah.
For many of those players.
And especially if like you're trying to just like I need to grab a second guitar and you're like not a huge Mayer fan, but you like them and you want a guitar, like that's all consideration. And like,
or if you're not a primarily like me, I'm not a Strat style guitar is not what I grab.
But you like Strats.
But I do enjoy them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've just seen comments based on that, and I think I don't remember if I'm just speculating or if I've actually seen but like I don't know. John Mayer and Paul Reed Smith wouldn't put their name on a guitar that they weren't proud of.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't. I
think you can definitively say that about either of those two.
And I don't think they would do it just to do it. And so I don't know. Just based on the groups and pages I follow, geared to John Mayer gear.
Yeah.
I just know people have been saying forever.
Yeah.
Like, well, by forever I mean since the core came out. Like, man, really hoping for an SE model. It's been talked about since they announced this thing. And
they did it.
When
I first got this thing,
it feels mythical. Like even still, I don't know why, but it just
when I first got this, I sent Bradford an unboxing video, and I was like, "I'm gonna unbox this for you, Bradford." And I think I said something in the video like, if you didn't see the headstock, like you wouldn't know that you might assume that this was just another color.
Yeah. Of
the core, like it, It looks and feels very close. Sounds really close.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more about that in the comparison video.
Yeah, it just feels like it needs its own thing.
Yeah, but we, in the SE video that we did, I think the thumbnail or the title was like, this thing really impressed us, like the custom that we did. Yeah. And the quality of the SE instruments. Yeah, keep pointing because the guitars the racks are over there. There's some over here too. But they're all around us. Some in the back room too.
They're omnipresent. We're just glad that we were asked to be able to do this.
Yeah. Thank you, PRS, for including us in the launch of this pretty... this thing, I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be surprised if these are hard to get. Like,
Yeah.
these are going to be super popular.
I mean, it's hard for a lot of gear, but
Yeah.
I mean, these are going to be...
These are going to fly. So if you want one, put your order in.
I can't help but wonder if maybe possibly on launch day, when this video, you're watching this video, well, initially.
On January 11th?
January 11th.
I think that's the date. Yeah.
Yeah. If maybe...
They're in the future.
John Mayer is like scoping out the different videos. John, if you're watching... I am being serious, but I mean, I am a big fanboy. But John, if you have watched this video, period, and especially if you made it this far,
if he made it to this point of the video, which is where like 3% of viewers end up,
then I love John forever, even more. I just want to thank you. You've been a huge inspiration to me, and always challenging me. I don't take, like, to me, this is a huge honor to be able to be a part of this. I mean, it's a huge honor to Brian too, but for me,
yeah, hi, John.
I'm getting excited about.
I really like your acoustic tone.
Yeah,
I'll throw that out there.
All your tone, all your tones belong to us now because we have this.
If you're watching, what should they put in the comments, John? What should John put in the comments?
John, if you just said anything, I'd count it.
There's
gonna
be a comment
and put it on my wall.
Somebody's gonna make a fake account called John Mayer.
Well, we'll know. Just click
and it'll
through.
just say anything.
Well, if John commented anything, I'd be printing that out and putting it on my wall.
What should the plebes that are watching that aren't John Mayer say in the comments?
Well, here's an easy one.
Yeah.
Favorite Mayer track?
Favorite Mayer track.
Okay, let's get more specific.
What's your favorite
guitar?
Mayer track?
Because guitar wise.
Okay.
Let's do favorite Mayer tone.
Favorite Mayer tone?
I think that's.
What's your favorite Mayer tone on a track?
Honestly, I think some of my favorite tone is the screaming leads he does in the outro of Human Nature he did at Michael Jackson's funeral.
Well, that's very specific.
Well,
and that is like a deep cut.
Yeah.
That's not even an album track. What's your favorite Mayer song? Oh, it's from Room for Squares.
It is.
I should know this. I don't know. It's off that album. I got close enough.
As a musician, just a songwriter. No, as a songwriter, just John being a musician and like making music.
Yeah.
I love like No Such Thing in Why Georgia or
that's right.
Probably Why Georgia. Probably Why Georgia.
Yeah.
But his Search for Everything, that album's probably one of my favorites. It's up there. So Rosie.
I'm your typical John Mayer fan. Continuum is my favorite. Slow Dancing in a Burning Room is really hard to beat for me.
The live version of Slow Dancing and I Don't Trust Myself are...
Don't Trust Myself is a great
This
song.
has now turned into a John Mayer discussion
video. That's fine. Nick, leave this in.
We can do what we want. It's our channel.
It's our channel. And you need to subscribe to it.
And if somebody issued the Edge guitar and we were asked to review it, Brian would probably be very similar.
There is an Edge guitar.
Well, there is, but if we were asked to review
if Fender said, hey, would you review this?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
an Edge guitar.
There is an Edge track.
Why do I not have that?
I don't know.
That's the question that I need to ask myself.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to purchase.
I know what kind of text I'm gonna be getting. I'm gonna be waking up at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna have text from Brian at 2 a.m. So I just bought this.
Octoon Baby's my favorite U2 album.
Bless you.
By the way.
Oh, that's an album? Oh.
Yeah, it's the best one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the best one. I would say Joshua Tree is the best one.
At this point, I really hope this video is an hour long.
Octoon Baby is my favorite.
And the last 15 minutes are us just doing this.
Yeah. Hey, if you made it this far, we love you. Well, we love you if you didn't, but you're only hearing this if you made it this far.
Hey,
so
if you are here and you're not familiar with our channel, we used Axe Effects and we used patches.
Oh yeah,
we have those available. There's a lot of different ones, but we have that available. So if you're interested in grabbing something, you can just turn the effects off and use our amp tones and drives and all that. But
you don't have to use all the reverb and delay.
You don't,
but you should because it's cool.
Yeah.
All right,
but thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. I'm gonna assume you're watching and you made it this far.
All right.
It'll make my life.
Your guitar is cool. We like it.
Yeah.
See
you in April.